Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to come check in and talk about what had happened in the markets this morning. Right now, it's 10:21 a.m. Remember the New York AM session is at 5:30 is when it's open. Um, we try to wait. We try to follow what's going on and see from that time. But I kind of like to wait till 6:30 to take trades. But if there's an opportunity, there is an opportunity. I like to mark out this line right here is just showing the 5:30 open, 5:30 open. We're in the hourly time frame, so when you hover over it, it's showing 5, but that's just because it's on the hourly time frame. We have swing high that was prior to the 5:30 open was here, and we have swing low that was here. Above us, we had some targets that we were interested in last week. The swing high, and this is a weekly fair value gap. This high here. And there's also this new day opening gap that hasn't been filled. So there's a couple of things that we were aiming towards. Price has been coming up, aggressively moving forward. On the 4 hour, we were kind of in this little fair value gap here. On Friday, this was our move, and let's just go. So we're keeping mind on you that we're in this 4 hour gap. On the 1 hour time frame, coming into the New York session on Friday, we were down, and this low here I believe was on a 15-minute chart. You can see that it was the lunch low of Thursday, so it was like there's sense behind this low here. um, you were in a 4 hour fair value gap. Price broke structure, and some might not see this right away. It might take longer for others, but this is a swing high right here. This high right here is the swing high because there's a lower high here and there's a lower high there. And we see that price, is on Friday below the lunch of the previous day. We're inside of a 4 hour gap, and we move higher, break structure, right? And just keep that in mind on the 1 hour time frame, right? And then here for New York, we're here like lower before New York. This is 1 in the morning, which is the London session 2300. So from here, if you're looking at the bottom down here, the time. So 2300 to 2 is your kill zone, your London kill zone, based on ICT's rules. So this was the London low, right here. And you see, even if we're looking at structure inside now of this structure, we've broken this swing high here. If we've came down and we've broken highs here, we're following structure here. We've wicked this and we've broken this high here. Then this morning, we open up and you see we actually came lower into this move here. But let's even look. We're going to go to a 15-minute time frame, but let's look at what's going on over here. So 15, this was a trade I talked about on Friday. I said this was this structure shift, broke higher. There's this gap here, and I was saying if you entered off the gap, really you should be covering here. There was probably better opportunities to enter. Maybe you have a limit set on the order block, before this move happens, right? A limit set on this order block, or you have a 50% of the fair value gap, or maybe a smaller time frame idea, right? But I was talking about our entry would have been here. We'd cover, if we could cover here, we'd cover here. If not, we would cover whatever we were accepting as the traders we are. And the target was here, and then the highs above. But keep this in mind. This happened. I was talking about it price here, and then it moved up. Moved up, but it left behind this gap in price that you see. We've come back into. Just imagine a gap here and a gap here. I'm not going to draw it on, but imagine like the line over. We've come to this gap now, and this is also could be seen as an order block. We've kept moving higher, prices breaking highs, moving higher. So we're tapping into this fair value gap. We're inside this order block, and this is the price action we have, today. This is the 5:30 open, so this is kind of before. Like I said, this is the London move. London we took lows. This is a high that was broken, based on the London structure in the 15-minute time frame. Coming into New York, we see that we're coming back into this zone, and we're kind of respecting. You see all these wicks like we're respecting, and we're kind of holding price. Let's go to the 5 minute real fast. So the 5 minute, if we look at it like this, we didn't break these highs. Maybe you could look at ES and see If ES maybe took out its low, then it'd be an SMT. If this one didn't, but ES did. I'm not gonna look right now. Um, you hear my son in the background. Sorry about that. The 5 minute, if we were taking trades, the first rule of break is structure that I see. Maybe there's, this swept a low in here, and then the high that technically is broken, it becomes this high here. So we have a break of these highs here, and then a closer structure is we have a break of this high here. So I see a move that pushed up, and then it leaves behind this fair value gap here. So you could be taking trades, like, right, if you were trusting your plan and your rules and the logic, like this is a move that we came, you know, back to a price that was in a discount area. We tapped that gap again. We're below the 5:30 opening price here, so we came lower than price. The midnight opening price was over here. So we're lower than price inside of an array. Some reason why we could be going higher, and we start getting these breaks. So when you see this good break right here, this cleans. It is at 740. I try to stop trading. Well, I don't know. I have rules about 5:30 to 8 is kind of my window. But maybe you set this limit right when it happens, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go step away. I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna go read. Whatever you do, hang out with your kids. You know. So you took this trade, and normally, like I said, I like to do the 250 because that gives me breathing room. That's not for everyone. Um, I trade off the minis. So if I'm risking two minis contracts, this is $250, right? So it's not the best risk to reward, but I liked this as the overall target, and then this line, this was the daily swing high. This would be my partials. Um, I did, if we look at the 15 as well, real fast. So I like the 5 minute, right? It shows you there's that break of structure in the 5 minute, but also even though this is kind of harder to like notice, I guess you'd have to be, I don't know, you'd have to trust your plan, but like this is a break on the 15 as well, and there's this gap in price here, and it taps the gap. It comes lower than the gap, but our stop would have been right here below the swing low, right? It would have been before the last candle that created this imbalance. So technically, even if our stop was like this is a little better risk to reward, 190. And say you were just targeting here, you've made a 1.66, which is not that's not the best trade. I would still keep it here and partials. If you were entering down here, though, if you were entering on the 15-minute gap here, like if you had limit set right here, which I have that was my original idea, but I actually stopped myself out today and hit my loss target that I have personally set. So since I've done that, I'm forced to sit out. And while that sucks, it is my fault. You know, I'm the one who can fix that. I'm the one who can change that. The thing I'm happy about though is that my loss was a good loss. Like I try to be a good loser, the best loser I can be. I try to follow the amount of money that I lose per day. I try to keep that as strict, 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 and I try to target a 1 to 3. Right? I might not be winning every day, but when I lose well. I do not lose over my set goal or set limit. And when I win, I'm aware of price. I'm aware of my trade at a 1 to 3. I'm securing profits, and I will let winners go. I'll hold trades. I'm not afraid to hold the trade to here. If my overall idea is here, I'm okay with holding that trade. If this is just right away in the morning, this is still far away from where we're at now. But who's to say it can't go that high? Going into Tuesday, it could definitely go that high. 1 second, please. So I did, since I stopped myself out and I cannot trade, I did take this trade on my demo account, just the practice account. So I don't know if this is the exact price I'm in at, but I'm in around this fair value gap here. And my stop is covering this low here. We've moved above, but if price on the lower time frame just sweeps this high, then wants to break lower, then you have to respect that. Let's go to the 5 minute real fast. There's this gap that we're in, but now we're failing maybe to make a new high. Yeah, so right here, I'm gonna remove this. I'm in the trade on my practice, like I've said, practice top step account. Unfortunately, not in a trade, because my original idea going into the week was that the fair value gap, that this tapped into the 15-minute fair value gap here, that this tapped into, that was my original bias that we were going to go higher off of that, and these were my targets. So if I was in down here, and I should have just waited because that was my plan, um, I could have been in bias, literally down here, following a narrative of what happened. So what that kind of looked like, since I trusted that, I was willing to set a limit on this 15-minute gap here. I'm willing before any of this happens sometimes to set a limit on price like that because I trust what I see, and I will set 250 pip stop loss. So I'm looking in this area here, like before this has happened, you know, you could set entry here, a limit, buy limit there. You cover this low, and then I like to do 250 ticks, so this low would still be covered. If you look to the right at the drawing, it would still be covered. And my first target was here, which was 674 ticks away, and then that would be partial, and then I would let the rest run to here, which is 1200 ticks away. So that was my overall idea coming into the week. So it's unfortunate that today I locked myself out. But you got to learn to be disciplined. You have to follow your rules. If that's your rule, then you need to follow it. And that was my fault. When I did it, I looked at my board and I was like reading it, and I have something written down here, and it says just do not trade at any other time than the New York Hill Zones. If you follow and focus on the thoughts you have, you can make them a reality. It all comes with discipline. You can do it. So yesterday, as I'm trying to mess around and be a superhero and take sales too early to come to here, because this is my target that I wanted to buy from, I got stopped out and lost the opportunity to trade. Um, but I would rather have a good loss than a bad loss. To me, that is good. That's following my rules. It sucks, but it's my fault. I'm the one that can fix it. You know, say you were buying here, you would have already been in. You would have bought here. You could have been in. As I was talking about it here. You could even still take the trade now if you see what's going on here, and you're like, okay, if price could go this high, are you willing to risk this amount? Where do you need to cover? Is that a sufficient stop? We gotta look and see. Yeah, I mean, I think you should cover this low here if we're gonna be in this trade. So let's do 200 ticks like that. You just bought right now. Like you just okay. I'm finally gonna buy now because prices come down to this fair value gap, and we're not breaking low. We're respecting it. Let's look at the 1 minute real fast. On the 1 minute, we have broken this high, and we've kind of hit this area here, and we are moving higher. I would just trust this buy. Take this buy if you trust it.